where my soul is. I don't know where my home is. And baby, all I need for you to love me like a bird. I don't fly away. I don't know where my soul is. I don't know where my home is. And baby, all I need for you to love me like a bird.
All right, welcome to Hello Canberra. Can I have the volume a little bit up in my yeah? So welcome to Hello Canberra. This is HP, and we have
Hello. I'm back, everyone. It's been a little while, but I am
Switched.
here in the UC Refectory live with HP, and you're listening to Hello Canberra, CMS 91.1.
So we are at the Volunteers Expo at the moment, and you're watching us live on Facebook 91.1. We are live on Instagram, we are live on YouTube, and Kim is just back from a long holiday. She keeps ditching me all the time.
Take a hit, HP.
Yeah, but it's great to see Kim today after so long. She's lost weight, become more brighter, and she's in a very good mood today.
We're going to be here for a few hours, so this is just the beginning.
Yeah, but it's fun, isn't it?
Okay.
So we have Marvin helping us today. Say hello, Marvin.
Shout out to Marvin.
Yeah, shout out to Marvin, and we have a guest today, right? So let's switch on to the guest, and let's welcome Nina.
Hello.
Hello, Nina, the very lovely Nina Stevenson, should I say. How are you today?
I'm well, thank you. How are you?
Good, thank you. Thank you so much for joining us.
It's a pleasure.
It's very busy here today, isn't it? There's
is.
a lot
No, it's-
happening. Now, before we kick on, did you want to sort of give everyone a bit of an intro as to who Nina is and what Nina does?
Nina is a theatre director. I'm a professional director, professional actress. Pied Piper Productions is my organisation. And I started life as a little platinum blonde, blue-eyed little child in the chorus of pantomimes as a dancer.
Wow.
So I've been around a couple of, I was going to say centuries.
Not centuries. You don't look like you've been around for a couple of centuries. We've got Marvin doing the video production today, and he's pretty busy doing so many things. But Nina, thank you for coming to the show today. Marvin, are we switching the camera? We're not, right? All right. No, just probably get the speaker a little bit down. Yeah. We are doing an outdoor broadcast.
It is loud today, so we're getting a bit of feedback through the headphones.
Yeah.
But, just to recap, so Nina is here to talk about theatre, and she is part of Pied Piper Productions, and we're here to talk about a show that's going to be running in Canberra very shortly, High School Musical 2, which is, I'm sure everybody knows what High School Musical 2 is, but in terms of Canberra, do you want to sort of expand on what your take is on that musical?
It's a musical. It's really for the whole family. It's a rock show, but the costumes, the choreography, everything about it will appeal to the whole family, to toddlers, to grandma. You know.
So this musical, the High School Musical, it's a theater. It's a musical theater, and you get all the kids that's interested in musical art or any sort of art. Bring them in, and then you just have a play. You have rehearsals, and then is that what happens there?
Yeah, it's like any theatre. It's
Yeah.
like mainstream theatre.
Tell me more about it, because I am naive. I don't know anything about these kind of things, right?
Yes.
Take me as a kindergarten student and take me through the entire process. What happens in a musical theater? Do people come and act? Do people come and dance? What happens?
I
Okay.
can tell you all this.
Right.
It sounds like you need to check out the show, but yes, Nina, take the stage.
Well, we decide on a production that will appeal to both the actors and the market. And once we've decided on the show, I pay for a license.
Right.
And then we advertise and we audition. And we don't just take the kids that could always get a part in every show. The leads obviously have to be strong and
Yeah, of course.
experienced. But we also take other youngsters that have had experience, hopefully singing lessons, because
Right.
that's important, that can dance, which they have to do at the audition, but it's not complex. It's just shifting weight to weight. So we teach them choreography and can sing. Did I just say that? That's the important
Well,
thing.
it's very important.
I'll say it twice.
So, where do you sort of find talent? Do you go out, or do people?
We
How do they know
advertise.
about you?
Well, I've been around for a long time, and people know Pied Piper Productions. We get a lot of children coming back, and then they come back as youth, and then come back as adults, and then they bring their children in. So we get lots of second generation coming.
Lovely. And what sort of age group would you be aiming to sort of get people on board to participate
Well,
in the play?
it depends on the production. We have done shows where we've taken 10 to 18 plus. This one, we made it 12 to 18 plus because it's set in a high school.
Yes.
So obviously we can't have little kindergarten kids running around. But we've got a couple of younger ones because been with us a long time, ever since they were little. And they were very, very keen. And we will take keenness and enthusiasm above anything else.
Oh, fabulous. So High School Musical, we were chatting earlier and you did mention that there was High School Musical 1 last year, and that's obviously been successful. So now we're blessed with High School Musical this year. Did you want to talk about how many shows are there this year, when it kicks off?
Well, it starts in the April school holidays. We move into the theatre on the 12th of April, and then we do 10 shows altogether. We skip the Easter break so that the cast don't miss out on their Easter.
Yeah, Easter eggs, very important at this
It
age.
is indeed.
Yep.
And also so that parents can go away for Easter. And we've never done this before. We've always performed over Easter. But we've also got another long weekend.
Anzac Day. We've got Anzac
one of
Day,
them.
Easter. Yeah.
We have a lot of
Exactly.
public
holidays in
holidays
a
in
bit of a
Canberra.
chunk this year. It's a nice
And you
chunk.
should know you are a public
I
servant,
said
Kim.
Anzac Day. I was the first one.
No, but okay. Let's take a test of Kim, right?
Oh God.
Kim, you tell me all the public holidays in Canberra.
Just Canberra? Well, there's Canberra Day.
No. I want Canberra.
Canberra Day.
Yeah, Canberra Day.
That's March.
Kim's birthday.
No, no, you've got Reconciliation Day.
Yeah, okay.
That's you on that,
Yeah.
isn't it?
That's only ACT, I believe.
Yeah,
As of
is that a
last year.
family day as well?
I mean, it can be.
Okay.
However you
What else?
frame it.
What else?
If you like your family.
Yeah,
on.
you've got Labor Day.
Yeah.
The King now, his birthday, his long weekend.
Okay. All right.
He doesn't have a long weekend.
Yeah,
Does he? Oh.
yeah, it does.
Well,
July?
sometimes it does.
June.
Is it all the time? It's a
It's a
long
Monday,
weekend?
isn't
Yeah.
it? So, I mean, if
Okay, give the king a
Yeah.
long
Let's
weekend.
yeah.
and that's
Used to give his mum a long weekend.
Yeah, what about Christmas?
Christmas. That's a given, though.
Yeah, but
Christmas,
I
Easter.
asked you
Oh,
a
okay.
particular question.
Okay, Good Friday,
Yeah.
Easter Monday,
Yeah.
Christmas Day, Boxing Day, New Year. I've covered it.
Okay.
We used to have Melbourne Cup, but not anymore. Are you satisfied?
Okay, yeah. So what are we
He
gonna?
doesn't know what they are.
No, I know. He's using me as a decoy for him to.
No, it's not that. I just wanted to see if Kim really knows public holidays, and
I
she
absolutely
does.
do.
Have you ever been a part of a theater group ever in your life?
No, I haven't.
But Nina, don't you think that Kim looks like a Hollywood actress?
She's very beautiful.
Isn't
She
she?
sing and dance and act.
Yeah, probably. What do you think? Would you cast her in your
Not
musical?
unless she can sing.
All right. Okay.
dance and
Let's see.
act.
Okay. Today we're gonna ask Kim to sing
no,
on air.
no,
No, come on.
No,
No, come on.
I can't.
All right, just one line of any song that you listen to.
No. Anyway, we were talking about it. So High School Musical 2, they'll have a break over Easter, but then you'll pick right back up. I'm having a look at the dates here. Tuesday the 15th of April, 7 p.m. That's the first show.
Opening night.
That's the opening
Yes.
night. So that'll be a good night, opening night. Is that usually when all the buzz happens, everyone's really excited? Yeah?
That and the closing night.
And the closing night.
is just goosebump.
Yeah, I must go down and check it out. And if anyone's listening, you need to check it out too. The first show opens Tuesday, the 15th of April at 7 p.m. If you're interested, how much are tickets?
$30 for a single ticket. 114 for a family of 4.
Yes, so
And
2 adults
So
and 2
10 or
children.
more is 27.
Yeah, so a $3 discount if you can get all your friends to go down. 10 people or more, $27 a ticket.
And where is it?
Where is it? It's at Canberra College Performing Arts Centre.
Where is that?
That's in Phillip.
In Phillip.
How don't you know that?
Well,
Should quiz you.
yeah, where is that? In Phillip.
In
Okay,
Phillip.
where is Phillip? In the south.
Yes. it's
Okay,
in
anyone living in the
Logan.
north, drive to the south in Phillip
Yeah.
and go to that Canberra College Performing Arts Centre at Launceston Street, Phillip.
You know what? HP and I might go.
Yeah.
Well,
I'll
that's
go,
nice.
but I don't
We
know if
might be
HP.
Will you pick me up? If you pick me up, I'll go.
I don't know. It's a very long
She's
car
married.
ride.
She doesn't want to go picking up men.
Oh, thank you. But it's the long car ride with HP.
Oh, God.
We both live in Gungahlin, so it's a bit of a. We'll be, yeah.
Yeah, but
I don't.
yeah.
Any.
You know what she's trying to say? She doesn't want to ride with me in the same car.
No.
Because she'll have to listen to me.
He does. Yeah.
Lecture her, probably.
He does lecture.
Yeah.
Unsure why. Anyway, back to the show. So it runs. So you've got Wednesday, the 16th of April. There's 2 shows on that day, 11 a.m. and 7 p.m. So if you can't make the evening, you can go during the day. Thursday is the same lineup. So it's Thursday, the 17th of April,
Right,
11 a.m. to
right.
7 p.m. Monday, the 21st, 7 p.m.
Yep.
Are you free on any of these days?
I will be free. I will only for Nina and Donna.
And then
I
Tuesday.
can pick up men.
Yeah.
Oh, you
you
can pick
could.
him up.
All right. I'm a handsome man too, so it's okay.
Oh, hey. But we're just talking about closing night is always like a great one to go.
Yeah.
Opening night and closing night. We
Mhm.
could potentially go to both.
Okay.
Yeah, 7 p.m.
So what happens in
11
an
a.m.
opening night and what happens in a closing night? Why is it so different? Or is it different or is it the same?
Well, you've got a cast and a crew the production team that have worked really, really hard for a long time.
Mm.
And they're like horse in the gate, just waiting to go.
Revving. They're revving.
And the energy level and the excitement is there. And closing night, it's just, as I say, it gives me goosebumps. And I usually end up in tears, so don't tell anybody
Oh.
that.
So how long does it take for your sort of cast to be ready for opening night? How many weeks or months does...
Well, we started before Christmas in November, and we rehearse Sundays all day and Wednesday nights for a couple of hours. It's been a very, very short rehearsal period, I have to say. Normally we have longer.
Right.
And we move into the theatre on Saturday, what we call bump in,
Yes.
with the set.
Mm-hmm.
And we do the techs and all the things that go. Stage manager marks the stage where the set goes. We show everybody where the costumes are. It's just go, go, go. Then we run the show in the afternoon so that the techs and the cast know where everything is on stage because it's their first time on the stage. And we are rehearsing in quite a small area, so they're going to expand into the space on the stage.
And you are the music director, right?
No,
You are?
no.
Yeah, you are the
Dana's
director?
musical director.
So
I'm the
Dana is
director and
you're the director.
I'm the director
So-
and the producer.
You're the director and the producer. So what's the role of a director and a producer in such kind of environment, like say a musical theater, right? What does a director and a producer do?
Well, the whole show is the director's vision,
Right.
so we have to be able to see it performing, behind our lids, if you like, so that we can see where the actors would be, why they'd be there. In our case, because we're working with people with not as much experience as professionals, teach them about projection, characterization, internalizing their characters so they don't just deliver lines, they don't act the person, they become the person that they're portraying. Working with the musical director and the choreographer so that we've all got the same vision and the same goal.
And you do a casting before
We audition.
Audition. There's an audition. So for us, if there is someone who is a producer, that's the person that puts in the money for this, right? How it is?
I'm the one that eats baked beans out of a tin,
Right.
fingerless gloves.
Oh, that's great. And do you get sponsors for this? Do you go out and ask for sponsors? If somebody wants to sponsor this, are you open for that?
I certainly would be, yes.
Yeah,
But
okay.
they're like hen's eggs. You just wouldn't.
It wouldn't work.
Not for a company like ours.
Yeah.
The bigger companies who do pro-am and perform in huge theatres, they get sponsors.
Okay. All right. So
We would love sponsors.
you would,
actually.
right?
Oh, we
Yeah.
would.
Yeah, it's
So had Kim known this before, she would have sponsored, but
Well, she would have got a husband to sponsor.
yeah, that's right.
anyhow, for me, it's very I am interested in performing arts as well. We are performers in a way when we do radio and when we do videos and TV shows and all this kind of stuff. We are categorized as performers as
you
well.
are performers.
Yeah. So and I've got keen interest in performing arts. Now, is there anything for people like us? Like if we would like to come and act and we would like to do something like what you're doing with the kids, right? Is there anything for us? Would you join, Kim, if there is something
Maybe.
for us?
Never say never. Is there anything available for HBNI and others like us?
Well, if we did a show with adults in it, certainly would.
So, okay, from a director's point of view, right? Let's make it fun. All right? Okay, Marvin, you are in this as well, all right? You are in this. Every one of us are in this, okay? From a director's point of view, right? Let's say this is a cast of Romeo and Juliet, all right? And you have to cast three of us. How would you cast us? Marvin, me, and Kim.
Romeo, Juliet, or
yeah.
you were into the new age,
Yeah.
Romeo and Juliet.
And what about me?
I wouldn't mind being Romeo.
She just left me out. What's this?
I don't know.
Because you'd pull focus.
Yeah, you're very problematic.
Oh, is it? Oh, so okay.
You're more of a backstage person, I feel.
So
It would be wonderful backstage where no one can see you and you can't
Yeah,
pull focus
all the
from
energy.
anybody else.
Yeah, backstage.
So if there was a monologue kind of a thing, you would put me on because I could pull focus.
You could be the understudy.
You're understudy.
No.
You'd have to shave.
I love it. Hilarious.
All right. When we talk to Dana, probably there would be a different perspective again. So we have Dana after this, right? So when we talk to Dana, we'll have a different perspective. If you cast me, just me, right? What would be you cast me on?
Well, I do mainly musicals.
Yeah, but what sort of storyline or what sort of character do you see when you
Gaston.
see me?
From Beauty and the Beast.
Yes. I didn't ask you, Kim.
I'm just,
Yeah.
I can share.
Or the guy that owned the restaurant in Hello. Just you have to be in a comedic role.
A
Yes,
comedian role.
That's where
Yeah.
your strength is.
What about a mafia role? With a cigar, do that.
A comic mafia don. Kill him.
I don't like this director now.
You could be Fat Tony if there was like a Simpsons musical.
All right.
That's an idea.
Well, we'll
Yeah.
talk. We'll talk after. But so we've spoken about High School Musical 2.
Yes.
Now, Nina, I want to know about your personal story. You said you had platinum hair with blue eyes.
I had platinum curls and blue eyes,
Yes.
and little pink lips, and I was an excellent dancer.
Mm.
So I was cast mainly via theatre, the pantomime theatre, in the chorus.
Okay.
And I grew up in the moulds of the old curtains and the toggled sets and the painted everything.
Wow.
And then I came to Australia and tried everything. I tried auditioned for every show that I could. I did backstage, box office, made the sandwiches for opening night, and just worked until I was asked to direct a show, and from then on.
Have you always been in Canberra?
No, I used to be in Sydney.
You were
I
in
used
Sydney?
to be in England.
Yes, England first.
Yeah, England, then Sydney.
Then Sydney. And then what made you want to drive 3 hours and just stay? What made you stay
In Canberra,
in Canberra?
I had very little children, and I still do love Canberra, even though it's turning into a bit of a building site.
Oh, it is. Yeah.
How long have you been in Canberra for?
Skyline.
30, 40 years.
So you've seen it change
Ever since I
to
was a
concrete.
child.
Yeah,
Yes.
right.
Mm.
So you're an English woman, aren't you?
I
In
am.
that way, like you're a very English woman. Do you remember being in England at all?
Yes.
Yeah.
You do? You don't have an English accent, do you?
Well,
Yeah, I can hear it. Nina came to Australia when she was 17.
originally 14. As
14.
£10 pom, and then went down.
Tell us about this. Like, this is interesting as well.
Yeah, that's what I wanna
Your
know.
whole transition from English kind of environment to an Australian environment. What difference did you see
Oh.
in the society and everything? You know, let's talk about that.
Well, I came out with my parents, and we were put on a hostel, which was Nissen Huts, run by a gentleman of German extraction who was taking the money the government were giving him for food for us, and we were getting the scrag ends of food. People in the hostel couldn't get jobs. Doctors were getting jobs as cleaners.
Yeah.
My father was in a Japanese war camp during the war.
Oh my goodness.
And the barbed wire fence and the Nissen huts and the conditions, he just lost it. We had to get him back to England. So I went to work in a grocery shop at 14, said I was 16, to save up the money to pay that hostel to get back to England. On the ship I met my husband, and we got married and came back here. I just loved Australia. I do love it. And
Was it more informal than where you came from? Because my perception about England is it's more formal, and especially in the era that you arrived in Australia, it was more English than what it is now.
Certainly.
Right. So and I gather that Australia was more English then as well, but it was more kind of say more laid back kind of English environment. So that's what I gather when I think of England then and Australia then. Was it kind of a culture shock for you?
it certainly was. It wasn't. Well, I went to school. I was only 14 the first time I came out, and that was a shock. So they put me in a tunic and a black stockings and a hat like one of the Centurions girls. Do you know the Centurions? No, you don't.
No.
Oh, you're not too young, but I don't know why you don't. But it was very. There didn't seem to be any discipline to life. You know, you could be what you were, and it was at the time, of course, when they were bringing all a lot of migrants in from Southern Europe, so it was very male-oriented.
Yeah.
On the hostel, there was young Yugoslav boys, so it was quite a dangerous area to be actually at the time. So that imbalance of the gender made a big difference as well. And of course, married women couldn't work, so it was a whole different.
So the women, those who married then, did not work at all.
They weren't allowed to work if they were married.
Now that's a very new.
I knew Hatred was going to look at me.
No, that's a new perspective for me, right? I wouldn't think of that. I would think that okay, it was equal then as well in this society as well, but no, it wasn't.
It was very male dominated.
And did you experience that as well? Did you experience a bit of a imbalance in the society, men versus women, when you were?
Men versus me doesn't do the same thing. I sort of stand up for myself.
Oh yeah. So but you had to stand up for yourself.
Yeah, but see, I wasn't bothered by. I was pre the women's lib, but I quite enjoyed having a man open the door for me and carry my stuff, so it didn't bother me.
Yeah.
I liked being a woman.
Yeah. Yeah, of course.
But so you talk about those very different times when you first arrived. How was it for you when you were pursuing your love of theatre? And did you find any difficulty in? Or that's always been a sort of gender neutral place?
Yeah. And at Unilever, where I worked when I came back, I actually set up a theatre group, and everywhere I go, I set up a theatre group so that I can have theatre.
Yeah, and you can find, I guess, like-minded people.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So, which is very distracting. What was the first musical, if you can remember, that you produced?
Oh, gosh.
See, I'm putting you on the spot now. I told you I wouldn't ask you any
Oh,
difficult
okay.
questions, but
It would have been. I used to direct plays primarily with Canberra Rec and several other groups that were in Canberra. I was trying to think, it would have been a children's. Oh, I know what it was. I used to work with Music for Everyone, and they asked me whether I would direct a play about a migrant woman that was like a choir for a migrant woman. So that would have been the first time I think that I did music.
and is that what sort of, that experience was what made you think I can do it? I'm going to just keep. Did you just keep producing after that, or yeah? And that just is it every year that you sort of produce?
So I used to do a junior show in the first half of the year. I direct for other companies after that. And in the second half of the year, I'd do a junior show and a senior show. And then I used to write and stage a nativity play for the church.
Oh, that's
So I was on the stage or behind the stage all the time.
So others that are thinking about not necessarily auditioning as part of the cast, and if there's people listening who are wanting to get into theatre as a producer or a director, what's the advice you have for them?
Well, start by going to theatre companies, and volunteering is the main thing. All theatre companies, as we do, have to have volunteers.
Yes.
Nobody with Pied Piper gets paid. We're all volunteers. Money that we make goes back into the next show. Site the crew, we take on of the parents, they help the dressing, help the side stage crew, box office. Go to rep, go to any of the theatre companies and volunteer. Being a director isn't something you can walk in and study in that sense. You have to immerse yourself in theatre to become a director. You've got to be able to feel it, see it, eat it practically.
Yeah. So is there any sort of advice you'd want to give anyone, something that you wish that you knew before you embarked on this amazing journey that you've been on? Something, a hot tip. Yeah, hot tips maybe.
Never look at the audition sheet when you're auditioning and see people there and think, oh, if they're auditioning, why am I bothering? And if you don't get a role, it's not because you're not good enough, it's because the director had a different vision of the person they wanted in that role. So
that's important advice. Yeah. Oh, that's lovely.
You guys are getting very serious about things, Like I'm here to be a bit more not serious about things. Anyways, so of course,
why he's wearing a red nose.
Yeah, look at me. I always have a red nose in this show.
You're doing a Christmas
Yeah.
production. I mean, Santa. Yeah, reindeer, Rudolph, permanently built.
It's always good to have a laugh, and people listening and watching us, they like us, because I have the red nose. Anyhow, thanks, Nina. Thanks for talking to us.
Thanks.
And we have Dana after this, and it's lovely talking to you. I would love to invite you again.
Yes.
To talk to you about all this journey that you had through 30 years in Canberra, but also in Sydney, and your journey from England to Sydney and from Sydney to Canberra, right? I found it really interesting while you're talking to us about it, but I just didn't want to derail the conversation from the High School Musical.
High School Musical.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, but thank you, Nina. Thank you for
Can I
being here.
just say before we go?
Yes, of course.
That the first people that ring after your broadcast can have 2 free tickets.
All right, that's great. So if you're watching right now as well, if you just comment down there, you could have 2 tickets free of the High School Musical, which is worth $35. $30 each.
Yes.
So that's worth about $60. Thanks. That's generous enough. Thank you so much.
So if you're
you for
free
having me.
Tuesday, the 15th of April through to Wednesday, the 23rd of April, make sure you comment because you get 2 tickets.
Can I comment now and get the
Brave
ticket
HP
free?
or not
Yeah.
getting anything for free. Thank you so much.
Anyhow, thanks a lot. And it's Dana. So until Dana is coming in, this is CMS Radio 91.1. You're listening to us live. If you're driving, this is Hello Canberra. It's with Kim and HP. And we are talking about High School Musical as well. We are live from Volunteers Expo today. And the Volunteers Expo is here at University of Canberra. If you want to know what Volunteers Expo is, this is where all the volunteers gather, all the organizations that have volunteers gather here, and you can come and volunteer for different organizations here as well. So Kim,
Hang on, before we cut into
Yeah.
it, you heard that the High School Musical 2, it's solely run on volunteers. So
this is solely
Yes.
run on volunteers as well.
yes, so
All right.
very important.
Yeah, that's great. So we have High School Musical, we have Kim, we have Dana. We just need to, there you go.
Hello.
Hi Dana, welcome back.
Thank you. How are you?
Welcome back to the show as well. Mean, your show, the last show that we did, had a really good views. Have you ever seen that? I think we have about 3K or 4K views on your show.
Oh, great.
People loved it.
Was either something controversial that I said, or
No, just
that's
you.
my entertaining
Just you.
personality?
Your story, that was, you made us emotional the last time you were here.
I'll try and do the same. I've got just the idea. I was listening off stage. I think your perfect character is Sven from Frozen.
Okay.
You know, the moose.
Okay, I need to watch it.
I need to watch it too. I thought I would be the
I was thinking,
Godfather.
like a Toy Story, like
Well, I was,
Zip them.
no. I thought I would be the Godfather from the Godfather movie.
no HP.
Can you please produce something called Godfather? Make me the main character as the Godfather, please.
We'll do
I
a
would produce
parody.
it. I would
You're
produce
best.
it.
Do a parody. Would be great.
Anyhow, so musical director Dana.
Yeah, that's me.
Right, so you did tell that you were a musical director the last time, but we didn't know that you were working on something
Yeah, okay.
so quick. Tell us about the process. How does this work? How do you connect with the director and then produce the music, or do you produce the music, go to the director and say, this is what we want to do?
Yeah, so with this one, we're using backing tracks. We don't have space for a band, so we're using backing tracks. But all of the singing's live. There's no, no equipment, no machinery to change that. It's all the cast singing live, so it's their own talent. So my job really is to make sure that they're delivering the story vocally, and to make sure that, we've got just under 30 cast members on stage. We want to make sure that they're all singing the right bits at the right time. This show in particular is quite complicated. It has a lot of counterpoint and different melodies in that. And you'll see that in some of the videos that I've sent you to pop up afterwards and have a listen to. But the cast is incredible on this one. And so really it's about, we break the songs right down to answer your question, and then we'll work through all the different parts with all the different individuals, and then we bring it all back together. And then they've got to remember how to do all the dance steps and all the dialogue in between. So very talented young cast that we're working with.
Oh, that's great. And let's say, so when you are doing the music, when you produce the music, right, what do you have in mind? How do you produce the music? I mean, this is very... I'm very interested in this. Like, what happens inside the brain of a musical director while you're producing music, right?
Well, as I said, my job's much more simplified for this one, given the fact that we're using backing tracks. So it's really about balancing what we're given when we get our license for the show in terms of the tracks, and then making sure the voices are balanced to that and are still telling the story and are true to the story while letting the individual talent come through. So a lot of it's trial and error. What I love to do, one of my favourite places is the rehearsal room, because that's the place where you can stretch people and really get it wrong. And in fact, we want them to get it wrong. We want them to sing too hard or sing too quietly, or not characterise the right way, or make a goofy move, because then myself on the music side and Nina as the director can actually see the breadth of talent and then bring things back and start to refine it. So our job, my job in particular, of all of them, is really much more of a polishing and refining and a motivating kind of job, just to get the sound right and know when to bring the voices in and out to match the tracks that we've been given.
And how much of an interest do you get from people when you say, hey, I'm doing High School Musical? Do you find a lot of people interested to come in? And
Well, I think it's a broader question.
Yeah.
I think we've got such a vibrant community theatre company, or community theatre industry in Canberra. And I made some notes as I was thinking about it. Just inside the last 2 years in Canberra, Nice Work If You Can Get It, American Idiot, School of Rock, Bubble Boy, Joseph, Madagascar, Little Shop of Horrors, West Side Story, Footloose, all of those shows. That's just a handful of shows that have all been put on by community theatre in Canberra. And some of those shows have had 25 shows in the run. Most have around 10 in the run. But that's all in Canberra, and often you'll turn up to a rehearsal and there'll be 100 or 120 actors auditioning for various parts, and some have a dance bias, some have an acting bias, some have a singing bias, and it's really the job then of the creative team to pick the right blend of people to come into the shows. So with that in mind, it's a case of, we put out a call, an audition call, and people will apply to audition. So then we have the job of taking the talent in the room and then mixing it to the characters to deliver the character that we want delivered. And sometimes it's really hard because you'll get some really talented people that don't necessarily fit one of the role for that particular role. Yeah. And one of the things I love about what Pied Piper does, and this is my first engagement with Pied Piper. My daughter did a show with them last year, but it's my first role as musical director for them. One of the things I love is what you find in Canberra is there's a lot of roles for adults, and I'll say 16 up in that category. There's often roles for more junior kids and casts up to that sort of 8, 10, maybe 12-year-old age group. But that age range in between, that sort of 12 to 16, we've got so much talent in Canberra, but there just aren't the shows for them. And so what Pied Piper does is give them that opportunity to do a real live theatre show, real live theatre with a full production, and learn, the skill and the art of being part of musical theatre. So Nina's always talking about becoming a feeder for some of the adult shows, and she talks proudly about the people she's had as 10 and 12-year-olds that are now on stage as 25 and 30-year-olds.
Amazing.
Were you saying something?
I was going to say community theatre. A lot of people, they hear that term, they're like, what is that?
Yeah.
It's solely, is it right to define it as it's solely volunteer?
It's volunteer and it's largely amateur.
Yeah.
So, we still sell tickets and you're paid for venues, so there's a revenue component to it.
Yeah.
But largely it's volunteers. So right from the stage crew backstage to people like me, Nina, the director, the choreographer, we're all volunteers. The costumes, there's a massive group of people to actually get the artists on stage. It's volunteer.
Yeah.
So my thing was, again, coming back to Kim and myself, right?
Sure.
What sort of music, let's say, you had to cast us for a musical theatre, right? What sort of music genre you reckon would be fit for both of us?
Well, how broad an actor are you?
Do you want to see?
Mafia.
Do you want to see?
Send me a note from me.
Come on.
I'm getting over a cold.
Let's
Ruin level.
I've got those notes.
You have the range.
I've got the range, and I could do that. Yeah.
Okay. I think maybe a top hole, fiddler on the roof, that sort of big barreling kind of voice.
Okay. All right, you do it. Come on.
I actually have.
It's all about musical theatre.
So let's talk about our show.
Let's talk about the show. Let's look.
Yeah, but then
now licensing. You mentioned licensing for a show like High School Musical that's Disney produced. How does that work? If you're volunteer based, where does the funding come to sort of get that over the line?
So the producer will fund that.
Okay.
And what the producer does is, even though it's not for profit, the producer will put their money up to secure the theatre, to secure all the technical resources, so microphones, and all of the licensing. And so they put their money behind that, and then it's just through ticket sales that they recoup the money they put forward for that.
And is that enough? Like, do you ever sort of go out and see if you're eligible for government funding or that sort of thing? Because it's, we know the arts sector is always kind of
Underfunded.
forgotten.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look, we've got elections around the corner,
I know.
haven't we?
Yeah.
I know.
But we could always do with more government funding and more grants for the arts. It's such a competitive thing, and it's so healthy. And I come back again to a lot of the cast that we've got in this one are school age. There are some older, but a lot of them are school or college age. And these guys are putting in, at least 2 days a week of rehearsal of our time, plus they're putting in their own time. They're learning music. It's good for their brains. They're not on their devices or running off around town being mischievous.
Yeah.
So I think if we can be funding those sort of and programs, is amazing. And with my other mental health and resilience hat on.
And you don't know, you probably, giving a birth to a new Hollywood actor from Australia from there.
Yeah.
There could be someone from there who could be, or who would be a Hollywood actor someday from there.
Yeah, for sure.
Because that would be a great start.
Yeah.
The confidence and the process that they go through, right?
In fact, there's one of my oldest daughter danced years ago with a girl called Kariba Hani here in Canberra with Legs Dance and Modelling Studio. I plugged to Michelle. Kariba has gone off and done US TV shows.
Yeah.
And TV series. So it can happen from Canberra.
Oh, absolutely. I think there's just this sort of like mindset that the arts isn't, it's just, you do it as a hobby. People can't really see the career path after the fact. Do you know what I mean? But I think it's very important that you guys are given a platform, because it's most definitely a very important industry. And as you said, it's something that people who have mental health issues, or they can use it as a gateway to sort of, deal with that. Or
and the expression, just being able to express yourself. One of the things that I found in the Canberra musical theatre community is, I don't know how to say this, and I mean no offence to anybody, but we've got all types in the show. Every kind of diversity.
Welcome, right?
Yeah.
Everyone's welcome. And so there's just
So how difficult is it to recruit people or to cast people when you go out and say, hey, we're doing musical theatre, do you want to come in and act for us? How difficult is that process?
I think it's a well-established process in Canberra. There are certain theatre groups that you will follow, say on Facebook or different social media, where the casting calls go out.
Yeah.
And then you cast. But as I was saying earlier, it's not unusual to have more than 100 people turn up and audition for a show that might have 15 roles or 30 roles.
Yeah.
So the challenge of whittling those down, because not like everybody's talented around Canberra. The level of talent and the volume of talent in this town blows me away all the time.
Okay.
And even the sort of 27 odd kids, should call them kids, cast that we've got on this show, I get goosebumps just listening to them. They're so clever, they're so talented, and they dance like, I dance like a house freak. I can sing, but I dance like a house freak. And so seeing these kids that can dance, sing, and act all at the same time, I think, wow, well, we should be giving them platforms and encouraging them. Because if we don't do it, if there are not companies like Pied Piper, they don't have the opportunity to perform. Either they leave Canberra to pursue their dreams somewhere else, or they drop it at that age, early to mid-teens.
Yeah.
They drop it and they go and do other things. And so it's lost to the arts, but then it's a career path lost to them as well.
So what's the storyline for High School Musical 2? Or like,
It's really, it's very very teen focused.
Yeah.
So High School Musical 2 takes the first story and then is now set in a country club where the students from school have gotten summer jobs to help, fund them going to college is kind of it. But what they do, if anyone's seen High School Musical, a lot of the same character lines and same characters are brought through in that. But it really, some of the themes that come out of it are things like kind of being true to yourself.
yeah.
And things like manipulative behaviour not paying off long term. So there are some really kind of important themes that are woven into it.
Yeah.
And it's an energetic, lively kind of show.
Yeah.
So if people aren't standing up and clapping and dancing at the end of it, I'll be very surprised.
And how was High School Musical 1? Like, were you?
I wasn't part of that
You
one.
wasn't part of it?
No.
You said your daughter was. She was.
Yeah, Madagascar was the show
Madagascar,
last year
okay.
that Pied Piper did, so she did that one. And that was fantastic. So that was a different show altogether. It was a slightly younger average age of the cast, and it was the Madagascar story on stage. So it was, the animals escaping and going to Madagascar.
Costumes,
It was a great show. Costumes were fantastic.
Yeah.
I got to actually crew 4 of those. I was doing my own show at the time. I got to crew 4 of those shows side stage, and it's seeing the kids from the start of the audition process to then what they deliver on stage. Not just what they can do, but seeing them, their belief in themselves, come forward, and these kids know. Some the ones who are good singers know they're good singers, so that's now part of their identity, which is really important. The ones that are good dancers or flexible acrobats know that because they've got the people clapping for them on stage, and they start to believe it themselves. So it's way more than just a piece of entertainment. It's like such an important education process and identity building process for the kids, the cast involved. I say kids. I think our eldest in this one is in their late 20s. So most of them are.
No, with the process, right? Of course, the kids would have to go to school. They've got their homeworks to be done. They've got their studies to be done. Probably they've got the sports to be done, right? How do they manage time? How do you guys manage time? Because you have to rehearse and rehearse and rehearse.
Yep.
That would be a challenge, right, for you guys? The parents would have to come and drop the kids off. Also, there comes the question of safety and all this kind of stuff as well while you're rehearsing.
Yeah.
How do you guys mitigate that?
Well, there's a lot of questions there. I think the first one you talked about is in the workload. Let's call it workload for the kids.
Yeah.
And again, if I talk about my daughter, I can do that. She does gymnastics twice a week, drum lessons once a week, dance twice a week, and now she's rehearsing this show. And she just got cast in the school musical, so she's now rehearsing that show as well. So she has one afternoon a week off to do her homework, and so that's when she does it. She loads up that afternoon and gets her homework done. Those things are her choice to do. And you find the kids that are doing this are really driven. Like, they're doing it because they love it. They're doing it because they love the camaraderie of the cast and because they love using their talent. Like, talk to anybody in the arts. If they're a singer, they'll tell you they just got to sing. If they're a painter, they've just got to paint. So this is a form of expression for them that they need. So I think the work balance, and hats off to the parents because they are driving them for miles. And, our Wednesday night rehearsal isn't finished at 9 o'clock. So if we're in Mitchell and somebody's got to get all the way home to Bungendore.
From Bungendore?
Yeah, we've got one cast member from out there. So, and across other parts of Canberra. So there's a real dedication by the parents as well.
And could these things be integrated into the school, and let's say have some sort of a contract or some sort of understanding between the school and yourselves, saying, hey, these guys are doing this, and if they have any grades for any sort of performing arts while they're in the school, could that be integrated? I mean, have you guys ever tried that?
I've not personally tried that, but I think that would be a really solid conversation to have with the education department around that sort of curriculum, because we are teaching them, they are learning. And
even if they would have a art and drama class when they're at school, they would be graded for that, right? So why couldn't they be graded while doing this as well? Those 15 kids.
Yeah,
don't you think so?
Absolutely. It's a question for those that put the curriculum together, I guess. So,
I mean, the whole thing, like even just backstage production, like that's something that if someone was studying that, they could definitely gain work experience from that.
Yeah.
Is there opportunities for work experience?
Well, certainly last year, that's exactly what happened with Pied Piper. So Nina used a bunch of kids from the school studying production technology, if that's the right word. I probably got that wrong, but used them backstage.
Okay.
Wow. And how old were they? Were they uni students?
No, they were in their early teens, early to mid-teens. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So school age, not even college.
Can you do one for our age as well? I would be really interested in coming in, please.
I'm looking for stage crew for this particular show, HP. So if you've got a black T-shirt and you want to come along,
I can do anything. Tell me, you can wipe the floors of the stage as well if you want.
So how many people do you need?
So if we can have another 4 people, then we
What roles? What roles?
So this stage side, so you'd be putting props on and off
Okay.
largely. You'll be making sure the cast is ready to go for their particular scene. And there's a stage manager that will direct that. You don't have to know that. You'll be scripted and told you know who to get on and off.
I could be the stage manager.
I think we're okay for the stage manager, but I think we would love you to be one of the crew.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
And how many hours does the crew have to commit to in order to help?
So a question without notice, test my math as a creative person. So we've got bump in from the 12th of April, so there's 2 or 3 days of bump in, and they're full days. And then each show allow at least an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours. And so there's 10 shows. So that's kind of the commitment that you're looking for.
Oh, wow.
But you don't have to do all of them. So what we want are volunteers.
Are you on for it, Kim?
If we get 15 volunteers, then you can just rotate.
You want to come with me, Kim?
We might. We'll see. We'll have a chat after this.
Okay.
Yeah.
See if we can help you.
Yeah,
think
probably we can, or probably I'll get someone to come in and help you out.
And we'll take we'll take photos of your side stage. You can promote that.
Yeah, you can promote that
for your own TV.
It can be a headshot for your portfolio. You embark on your
Is any of these on a Friday?
They're all after hours, Thursday and then Monday. There's nothing on a Friday or on a weekend, but they are pretty well spaced.
Yeah, for this fortnight, just the way the timing works, we've got Easter in the middle.
Yeah.
So we lose the Friday and the Monday. I think we've got a show on the Easter Monday night.
Right.
And then we lose the Friday for Anzac Day as well. So so no Fridays.
Yeah. No, the reason was I thought we could go live from the backstage,
We
Yeah.
could record one.
Yeah.
And then we could play it on
Play it on Friday, yeah. Because we just want to help you. I mean, you guys are doing a great
thank
job.
you,
I mean, not many people think of this side of the performing arts. And as I just said, we are performers as well.
Absolutely.
And we are not getting as much recognition as much we should. Because we are in the Canberra Multicultural Service, probably if we were in one of those networks, probably there would be stories and news about us. Right now, nobody gives a crap.
If you've just tuned in,
So why am I here?
we're talking about High School Musical 2, and it runs from the 15th to the 23rd of April. It's $30 a ticket, so...
I think Nina announced a promotion, did she, earlier? About anybody who
Yes.
Commented. If there's a comment there, if there's someone that has commented, if there's someone that is, if you're interacting with us right now as well, you're getting 2 tickets for free. That's worth $60. And the rest is when you go in there.
And it's a great show. You're supporting youth in the arts in Canberra. These are all Canberra locals, all Canberra region locals. So, really important.
Amazing. All right. Well, I think HP wants to cut to a music break for a sec.
Oh, great. So, I gave you, as I said earlier, one of my favourite parts of all this is to be in the rehearsal room, because that's where you get creative and that's where you get to try things that work and don't work. And also when it does work, that's when you get the goosebumps. And so I've provided a couple of clips. I don't know if they're going to make it in now or afterwards. We've got the clips coming in, HP.
Yeah, so after the show, we will be uploading a few of the clips.
Amazing.
Just to show you guys what sort of rehearsals has happened, and what sort of show you would be expecting, and how the musical theatre works as well. Lots of people may not know how musical theatre works as well, right?
Yeah.
So
If you want to hear an amazing group of voices, then you're going to take the time to listen to these clips. Only a couple of minutes each, but they're incredible.
And again, they are all volunteers. None of them are paid.
Correct.
It's just, they're doing this.
Pure passion. And talent, of course.
Passion and talent. Yeah, that's right.
I hope the government, anyone in the government is listening to this, and especially the ACT government, because there are people out there that are doing things out of passion. All they need is a little bit
on
of
the map. Let's put Canberra on the map.
Exactly.
Yeah, there's no reason why we can't be the musical theatre incubator for Australia.
Yeah.
100%.
We've got something, kind of 5-ish. There's probably more than that. I won't name them all because I don't want to offend people. But, theatre companies like Queanbeyan Players, Free Reign, Canberra Philharmonic, Dramatic Productions, and Pied Piper, they all put, I'm sure I've left some out, so I apologise. But they all take the time to put these shows on. It's a list of shows I ran through earlier. distributed amongst all of those theatre companies. They all have volunteers, they all have committees, nothing gets paid, they all then work with lighting and tech companies. And so there's a lot that goes into it,
and there's a lot of expenses, as you could say, and as you can see, because you have to hire a theater. You have all this time that you've been giving for rehearsals. Probably you've got wardrobes, you've got
absolutely,
music. You have to print out the printing. We do understand that, and then not only microphones, you need communication sets for your backstage crew, and everything has to be spot on. I mean, it's live. It's not recorded or anything like that.
Yeah.
Well, to give you an idea of the kind of the ratio of the numbers to get a show on stage, I did a show a couple of years ago where I was on stage, Footloose, with Indian players, and I always take a cast photo on stage at the end. There were 2 more off-stage crew in that photo than there were cast on stage.
Wow.
So it was at least a 1-for-1
Yes.
for the actors to get it on. And we had 20-something in that cast, I think, from memory. So
massive.
It's a massive effort, just to get it on there. And they're all volunteers. Mm-hmm. So, next time you go to a theatre show, just take a moment to think about when the cast is pointing the bar box and backstage and, down to the pit for the band, that they're all the people that are giving their time.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. I mean, when I just think about it, I mean, I get goosebumps as well.
Yeah.
Because I used to do events like that, but we used to do pageants, beauty pageants and all this kind of stuff. I'm just giving you my resume just to be on the backstage.
You were on stage?
Yeah.
On stage beauty pageants?
Yeah, on stage beauty pageants.
You were?
Yeah, no, I was in it. I was in one of them as a contestant. I was in one of them.
How'd you go?
So I was a runner-up in one of them.
Video as well.
This was about 15 years ago, right?
Yeah.
So it used to call as ambassador.
Yeah.
So I started my journey in media from there, right?
Yeah.
Then after that, I joined the company and I used to do the backstage and the recruiting and all this kind of stuff. And I understand the kind of effort that goes in the backstage, the kind of the heat that you have there, because you have to be go go go. You can't leave the stage empty. There's so much, and this is my resume to you. If you can please hire me as on the stage, backstage.
You've got to. You're closed. Inside stage for me, backstage would be great. So I think for me, it's I'd love Canberra to get behind the show, just as a reward for the cast, because there's nothing worse to playing to half full houses, and so this theatre that we're in. Canberra College Performing Arts Centre is 173 seats, I think, fully functioning theatre. It's fantastic. So not only the cast performing on stage, but they're getting to feel how an actual theatre works in the backstage.
So if you just give us the link, we'll put the link up on CMS as well to if people want to buy the tickets. We'll try and help you out selling it as well as much as possible.
A super professional show. The cast members range, and maybe you need to mention this, but as well as the age range from kind of 12 up to early 20s, mid-20s. We range from no experience to cast that have done a bunch of shows. I mean, there's a few in there that I've done shows with. So, so it's a really, really professional show. The show these people put on is fantastic. It's well worth like the $30, honestly. Cheap as chips.
I can't wait to see it.
Yeah.
I'm sold. I'll be there.
You would?
I will be, yes.
In all of those or just one?
I'll try and at least go to one.
One would be great.
Yeah.
You can do one.
I would do the opening and closing because I want to see what the opening looks like and what the looks like.
They're
as well.
great shows.
Yeah, I would like to see that. And that's great what you guys are doing. High School Musical 2, that's what we're talking about.
The t-shirt.
15th to 23rd of April 2025, High School Musical Dana. We had Nina that we were talking about. It's Hello Canberra. And it's about time for us to say goodbye for Hello Canberra, but we will be going live, continuous live today for another 1 hour. So, Kim, where's your coffee today? Is that your coffee?
No.
No?
Don't worry, I'm fine.
Yeah. Thank you, Dana. Thanks for coming in.
Pleasure. Thanks for having us.
Pleasure to chat.
If there's anything else you would like to say,
support local Canberra youth in the arts and come and see the show. It's you will not be sorry. It's a great show.
That's great. Thank you, Dana. And that would be it for today with Dana and Nina.
Thanks.
Hello, Canberra. It is CMS Radio 90. 91.1, and we are switching. We're not switching. You're listening to us. We're not going away. We will be talking to a lot of people today. Especially today, we have Joyce. Joyce is the station manager, and we are talking about eggs. I mean, when we say eggs, we're talking about
Not
human
the
eggs.
ones that are sold out.
Yeah,
Not
so we're
eggs
talking about
anyway.
having kids and human eggs and all this kind of stuff. Because I had a friend who was talking about having kids, but they're not ready yet. But then, it's the age thing. You having kids, Kim?
I'm trapped now with just you.
Yeah. Are you having kids, Kim?
I'm not having kids yet.
No.
Are you, HP?
All right, tell me this. Do you guys have this conversation about, about the biological factor of having kids?
Yeah, of course.
So tell me, I know that cost of living is one of the reasons that people don't want to have kids. And I'm not talking about you, I'm talking about someone else or anyone in your group, right?
Yeah.
If they just, how much of an issue do you think there is amongst our generation or about having kids? Like, are people very, hands-on about it, or?
I think you know what it is. It's there's so much to do,
Yeah.
and I think it's not just a cost of living issue or point. It's also about like having the time. You've got to like give your time away. You've got to commit. That's it. You've lost your freedom almost. I don't mean that in any negative way, but you've got to think about it that way. You're now like in charge of another human being, and I think that might be a factor for some people. Certainly in my friendship group. Me, I think that's also a factor for me. I've got to be in the right place where I'm ready to commit the time. And, and it's hard when you're, I'm speaking for me now. It's like when you have a career, it's completely different to how it used to be, but that's also a factor. You got to realize you have to take time off from your career, and then potentially you don't know what things will look like when you return. So that's a big factor for me. Is that something that you think about, HP? I'm going to just keep talking because we've lost audio. But
Let me check.
I was just saying.
This one's.
No, this is back.
All right.
This is why. This is why.
What I was thinking was what normally is a factor for someone like me would be hear myself. Yeah, now I can hear myself. Yeah, thank you.
You know what? Before we get into the crux of like all the very serious conversation, can we just go back a little bit? HP was in a beauty pageant. Can we just go back to that for a sec?
Look at Joyce. Joyce is like really. It was 15 years ago. We were Joyce. Come on, Joyce.
I need to tell you something.
Joyce.
It's because, I made Jenk
I shouldn't have.
Mr. World.
Yeah.
Have you seen Mr. World?
I have, yes.
2025, because he didn't know it was a thing. And I was like, it's a thing, right? And then he was like, what? And then anyway, so it's been hot topic in my group.
I should not have told this to Kim, especially
You
on
didn't just
air.
tell it to me. You told
my
it to everyone
God.
who tunes into 91.1.
All right, we've got Joyce, the station manager here.
Joyce
We
is
are
gonna come
talking
in.
about.
She's going to come join
Yeah,
us.
she's gonna. Yeah.
Beauty pageant. So that needs to go in your LinkedIn, like beauty pageant. Yeah. Were you? Yeah, contestant. Were you a runner-up? How did you place? How did you go?
All right. I should never have spoken about this. I mean, I am a bit trapped right now. We've got two beautiful ladies over here, and they've got headphones, and they want to talk to me about beauty pageant.
Don't
Can we-
distract us. I want to know, how did you place?
Don't dodge the question.
Correct.
All right. So the beauty pageant, right? Okay.
Mr. Congeniality or well,
Mister.
Is it a beauty pageant?
All right.
Is that
Okay.
what it's called?
All right, this is Hello Canberra. You're listening to our CMS 91.1. We've got Joyce, we've got Kim, this is HP as usual, and we've got Marvin, the lovely Marvin. He's doing the video production and the sound production at the same time. And we are also talking about the beauty pageant that I was in. It wasn't a beauty pageant, but it was a beauty pageant. Okay, it was called the College Ambassador, right? So it's for male and female both.
Okay.
Right, so it's kind of of a beauty pageant, but you're judged exactly how you are judged in Miss World or Mr. World or Miss Universe and all
Okay.
this kind of stuff. You get a 1 month, probably 45 days training. Yeah.
45 days straight.
Do you have
Yeah.
to pay for it?
You have to pay for it. Yes, you have to pay for it. You get 45 days training on how to walk, how to talk, how to sit, how to stand.
It all makes
how
so
to
much
eat,
sense now.
right? So how to eat everything. So
How to eat?
Yeah, as well. So how to eat.
it's like
Your
that,
fine
see.
dining courses.
I've eaten dinner with your
Etiquette.
HP.
It's called etiquette training, right?
Yeah, etiquette
Yeah.
training. Oh, see, Joyce knows. You're on my side. Thank you, Joyce.
No, I'm just. This is a whole nother side of HP that I
Yeah.
wish to exploit.
So of course you get training for that. You get training for public speaking. You get training for answering the question when the judges are there. You do.
So interesting.
I
Yeah,
love
and
it.
you get training to walk on the ramp. Yeah, I mean not
Catwalk.
I mean,
Was there
catwalk,
swimsuit?
not sort of, but
Was
yeah.
there a swimsuit category?
Oh, I didn't. We didn't have that.
No.
You do a whole lot of photo shoots. You get some sort of media exposure, and that's that. And I was very young then, like very young. I just out of school, and I wanted to be in the media, so I just got in there, and I was way thinner than what I am right now. I was way more handsome, I reckon, than what I am right now.
No comments.
Yeah, I know. This is the silent part of the push. So,
Hey, just a sec. Let's ask Marvin. Marvin, do you think I'm handsome? Yeah, look at that.
I
Okay.
can't hear him. So,
He's a technician.
Yeah.
His standards are a little bit different. He sees you in digits.
yeah. You don't have your glasses on, Marvin.
I didn't hear what he said.
I don't know.
That's
Yeah.
okay.
All right, look. Okay. Thank you, HB. We appreciate it. We will dive into that.
Well, if you guys want, I can train you guys as well. For a beauty pageant.
Oh, no, I'm
Yeah.
fine.
You can go for a Mrs. Australia, both of you.
Mrs.
Yeah, there's a
There-
Mrs. Australia as well.
Do
Didn't
they
you
do
know
a
that?
Mrs. Australia?
Yeah, there's a
I
Mrs.
think
World.
that's a Mrs. World.
Yeah.
I
Is
think.
that?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
You guys could go for a Mrs. World. Probably both of you.
Seems like
could-
a lot of.
But the thing is, I think my husband wants to take my name. So,
Oh,
am I still qualified as a Mrs.?
yeah, of course. You've got a ring. You're married. You're legally married, right?
Yes.
You've got kids, right?
One kid.
Yeah, one kid, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, you legally married. You just married. So legally just married, right?
Yeah.
So you qualify
We're
as
both
Mrs. as well.
qualified.
We're
Yeah.
both qualified. We'll get back to
And I'm only Mr. We don't have, master or whatever. We got on the Mr. here.
Okay.
So, what happens when a guy gets married? Is it
What? You're the guy.
yeah? So what happens?
You
Does the
just
title
lost.
change? It's always Mr.
It's
right?
always Mister.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the annoying
I
thing.
say, don't you think that's a bit misogynist when you say, okay, when you're not married, you're Miss, and when you get married, it's Mrs. It always should be Miss.
But it's a little bit old-fashioned. These days, I don't think you become automatically
Mrs.
No.
Yeah, you can decide to stay as
What are
Miss.
you? What? Okay, we'll ask both of you, right? What
Yeah.
are you if you were Mrs. So you're Miss Kim Strano. What would you be, Mrs. Kim? What would you be your last? No. After that,
Hack villain.
sorry, what was that?
Hack villain.
Slowly.
That is very slow.
That is very slow.
Yeah, go slow.
You need to listen.
Yeah, let me
carefully.
let me hear it. Hack
Hack villain.
villain. Okay, Mrs. Kim Strano, hack villain. Right. And what would you be, Mrs. Joyce
Young,
Young
Whitler.
Whitler?
But I haven't taken my husband's name.
Yeah.
There's
So
a lot of
hasn't
paperwork
my wife
involved.
as well.
Yeah, it's a lot of work
Lot of
involved. You have to
admin.
change
Yeah,
your
why-
whole life.
Yeah, my thing is,
annoying.
why change it? You were known with one name all your life, and then again you have to change it.
It's a
I'm
lot of
against it.
work.
I personally am against it. I have asked my wife not to change it.
But my husband and I did have a conversation that perhaps now we have a kid, we can join our name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we start a whole new generation of our hyphen name. But still, we haven't gotten around to do it because it's just a lot of work.
It's a paperwork.
Yeah.
You get married.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah.
But then you've got to lodge all these documents, and then you got to change your passport. And
Yeah.
now every time you fill out a form, now you know there's another name. You got to tick that box, and I don't want to tick another box.
Okay. That's your names,
I'm
right?
lazy.
Now, say you had a kid.
Yeah.
You had a kid. What would be their surnames?
My husband's last name.
Why? Come on, why?
I just think
Logic.
it's nuts.
Logic.
You're
I
creating
think it's
a
a
human being.
custom. Like
Yeah.
it's
What would you do? Have your surname and your husband's surname?
actually
Double
my
barrel.
daughter has my surname. Yeah.
Wow. I would like to salute to Joyce's husband. That's a great thing to do. It's a great precedence to have, and that's a great
Yeah.
thing.
And the
Yeah.
reason behind it is my name is just easier.
Well, in the Philippines, there is a tradition that the maiden name, so the mother's maiden name becomes a child's middle name,
Yeah.
and then it just gets shuffled along.
All
So
right, we also have Sneha today, my wife, right? So she's around here, but we could have a three lady talk right now, right? So what I'll do is I will leave my seat, and you guys, yeah,
You can stay. You're allowed.
we need to hear about your background.
because we can't do four people in here anyways. But what we'll do is you guys, I would like to listen to you guys talk about biological clock. We're talking about biological clock. Yeah, we're talking about having kids, right? Joyce has kids, but she had kids when she was. I can't reveal the age. Can I reveal the age?
Yeah.
Okay. Joyce had kids when she was 40. Is it
No.
40? No.
I got pregnant when I was 39.
Okay.
And I gave birth when I was 40.
40, right?
It's very easy. So
Yeah.
don't worry, ladies.
Oh, thank
Your
God.
clock's
Can you
not ticking.
tell that to Kim and Sneha as well? Don't worry,
Yeah,
ladies.
Really, don't worry.
Okay.
It's I think the society.
Come on in.
I think the society is putting a lot of pressure on women
Yeah, of course they are. They've
Yeah.
been doing that for
for a very long time.
very
And you
centuries.
can't please everyone. When you have kids, they'll say, okay, you need to be focusing on your kids. And when you focusing on your kids, they say, oh, you need to have a job.
Yeah.
And then you just stretch everywhere. So
The pressure of being perfect in every role that we have to do.
Yeah.
yeah,
It's
I think
massive,
that's
isn't it?
really unrealistic.
Yeah.
True.
Mm.
True. So,
So
I
Sneha,
missed the whole thing, but I got
we
pulled
haven't
into I got pulled into talking about this interesting topic. We're in a stage where we're like, is it worth having a kid?
Yeah.
Is it time yet? Is it the society that tells us when to have the kid, or is it me deciding as a mother to be to sort of say, no, I'm not ready, or I'm ready? You know, it's just hard. And a lot of friends that I talk to who have got kids, they say how beautiful it is, but
It is.
I
But at
don't
the
know.
same time, it's
I don't know
exhausting.
I don't know if it is for me. You know,
it doesn't have to be. That's a completely a decision that you're
Yeah,
entitled
I
to.
agree.
It is all up to you and how you see yourself. I think especially from when you're from a diverse background, there is a lot of unnecessary pressure that's placed on females in particular to have kids. Unlike males, where it's like they can
It's
sort of do
like
whatever they want.
You're being judged by this thing. It's like your KPI for life.
That's right.
If you haven't reached that,
Yeah.
it can be considered as a failure.
Yes,
Yeah.
And I think that's really unfair. It's actually we should be able to define who we are, what we do, in terms of our own choice, not like to please the norm and the expectations.
Absolutely. And I think as well, it's like you don't want to just do something for the sake of doing it, because then that can just lead to a whole bunch of generational problems.
Yeah.
I agree.
You want to be absolutely ready. I mean, it's not as big a step, but it's like, getting a pet. If you're not completely committed,
it's like you can't return it to the manufacturer.
no, you
No, you
can't.
can't.
You can't.
To be fair, I don't believe there's a perfect timing
Yeah.
for having kids, and I don't think you can 100% prepare for it. It's not like, oh, I'm going on a trip and then you get all sorts of things sorted.
Yeah.
I think there's always an element of surprises and then lots of things that you will never consider
Of course.
happening. But I think it's the readiness in your attitude
Yes.
and in acknowledging that things are going to happen. So until that you are completely comfortable with this choice, I don't think anyone should be pressured doing
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah.
All right.
While
While you were saying this, I was having a mental checklist.
Yeah. And how are you scoring at the moment? Pretty badly.
How many ticks?
Yeah.
Pretty badly, but it's good to have some sort of guidance. I did speak to a lot of women who chose not to have any kids as well, either because of their health issues, or it's because that was their choice.
Yep.
And I think they just say that it's just wonderful. You still get involved with the families who have kids. It's not like you won't have any kids around you.
Exactly.
But that's the choice they made, and they seem very happy about it.
Actually, I just had a conversation with Marvin earlier today. I said to him, because I think he has lots of pressure from his both side of the parents, parents and parents-in-law. And I said to him, you know what? If you don't have kids, years later you'll be very rich.
Yeah, that's true.
Because they are
It's so
expensive.
It is.
Yes.
It is quite difficult as well. Like, even if I think of, okay, maybe soon we'll have to plan about it, it's the cost of living.
Yeah.
I can only imagine, like, in the past few months, I have to have some medical, issue going on, and I have to visit the doctor so often. And I really have to think about, oh my God, do I really have to go this week? Can I push it until next week? Because it's getting expensive. And I can only imagine having little kid, they can get quite sick often.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it does add on to the cost. But obviously, that's not the only reason you would not have a kid. There has to be your choice from other areas as well, not just in terms of the money or anything like that.
I think cost of living is a key word for many of us living in Australia, and also I think it's a common issue now in different parts of the world.
Yeah.
And especially when it comes to kids, I think it's a very realistic aspect that you have to think of, because it's not only for the kid, it's also your life and your partner's life.
Yeah.
Everything's going to change. How much financial side of things you're going to sacrifice or channel into this little human being.
Yeah.
So I think that's a very big portion of when my husband and I was deciding whether we're going to have kids or not. It's something that we really talk about a lot. Yeah.
Okay. So, Kim, I know you got married recently, so congratulations. I was a bit late. Late to the party. So, what are your thoughts? I'm coming from a space where I felt so HB and I had a legal wedding when we came to Australia, so we came separately. And the family decided that you guys are not going to live together because that's not our culture. So you've got to have some sort of commitment, and the commitment would be getting married legally.
Yeah, okay.
Quite young, but we said, okay, we seem quite committed with each other, so let's just do it, And only recently we got married in traditional way. And I thought for a long time, having a traditional wedding will prepare me more to have a child.
It's like a step process.
Yeah, because getting married legally
Solidify
wasn't
mentally.
it didn't feel anything, but getting married in a traditional way, I do feel like I'm married now.
Yep.
But it didn't change as much as of the thought of, okay, maybe I'll be ready for a child. I'm sure we'll have a child soon in future, but everybody I speak to, they say, when you're ready.
Yeah.
So have you felt anything?
Well, it's one of those things, right? It's like absolutely that checkbox for me was important, like before we could even start to have that conversation of what's next. But I think it's also like you need to be fulfilled, like mentally on your own. You need to be like, I am happy with where I'm at, so then I can be the best, whatever happens next looks like to be type thing.
I'm a strong believer that there's no perfect moms, only happy moms.
Yeah.
If you're happy, then your kids will be happy and your partners will be happy.
Yeah. There's a lot more goals that I feel like I need to kick. Like I'm definitely on my way there, I feel, but it's not the right time for me.
Yeah.
That's my take.
And I want to know from you, because you said you conceived quite late, how was it in terms of your health overall? How did you find it? Was it even hard? Was it easier? Were you prepared because you had taken your time?
I think we definitely have taken our time. We did all of the things we wanted to do, and career-wise, we're both really happy where we are in our career. And another aspect is that because of a lot of time, we talked about this quite thoroughly. And I think for myself, I kind of already did a lot of research. I'm not gonna say it's very different. Like, you know it on paper, and when you're actually gone through it, it's a completely different thing. But at least I did it as much as I could. So I think I was mentally very prepared. In terms of the pregnancy itself, and then delivery, and then afterwards, I'm definitely one of those very lucky ones. The pregnancy was very smooth. I was very happy. I was literally like glowing for 9.5 months.
Wow.
And
No morning sickness or all day sickness?
oh yeah, lots of morning sickness, and it doesn't just happens in the morning. It's the whole day.
All day.
Yeah, it's all day.
Be prepared.
But it stopped at about 16, 17 weeks.
Oh, lucky you.
So you just kind of stop there. But even when I was having morning sickness or sickness all of the time, it didn't really affected me that much. I kind of just accepted that's a part of the pregnancy. But maybe because I didn't have it like horribly, it's just I had that experience. But yeah, throughout the pregnancy, I'm still like exercising. I still was doing weightlifting, and then going to the gym, swimming. The day before I deliver, I was still swimming. So the whole time I was very healthy. So like my
Checkbox swimming, continue swimming,
Very good.
learn swimming.
very good. And I think because of the health side of things in my physical aspect was really good.
Yeah.
So it helped my mental side as well. It goes hand in hand, right?
Yeah.
So you're mentally prepared, and then also you're healthy. So that kind of complement each other.
Yeah.
So the pregnancy itself was really smooth, and the delivery was also smooth.
Yeah.
So I wasn't traumatized.
Okay, I've got one more question based on that. How much of social media digging did you do when you felt pregnant?
What do you mean?
A lot of times women do tend to sort of Google or go to, social media to find what to expect, what not to expect. What's a perfect pregnancy? What's not a perfect pregnancy? How much did you do?
I think the algorithm will catch up with you because they kind of know what you're searching, and they say, "Oh, this is a pregnant woman," and they'll just feed lots of those to you. I think there should be a limit that you need to know that what you want to absorb and what you don't want to absorb, because it's overwhelming of information.
Yes.
I do believe in science, so I think always check with
Professionals.
Healthcare professional that you trust.
Yeah.
And I think go with your gut feeling. Like when I wasn't sure about my exercise, because I'm a very active person, so before I felt pregnant, I was like swimming, going to the gym, and doing yoga, all kinds of things. And after I felt pregnant, I wasn't sure how much I should maintain that. But that's important to me because that makes me happy.
Yeah.
So I checked with my GP and also my
Midwife,
and was it obstetrician? Yes, obstetrician. And they all said that as long as you feel okay physically, like you're the best judge of where you're at, then you can continue doing whatever you're doing. So that kind of really comforted me, and I just went along, did whatever I wanted to do. And of course, like I tuned down a little bit on certain things, but in general, I still did whatever I wanted to do. So that felt really positive.
I recently read some article. I think there was a research, and I can't remember all of it. Imagine being pregnant with this kind of memory.
Let me ask you this. Your friends, have they gone through this yet? Because that can also influence the way you think about it, how you approach it.
Most our
were
friends
they
were already
They were there.
I mean, their kids.
invested.
No, the kids are already like.
Let me tell you, I am
10 years
so
old.
behind. I am so behind.
That's not the right way to look at it.
No,
You're on your own
behind.
journey.
You're on your schedule.
Don't say behind. I think that's the toxic thing, right?
No, I'll tell you something that might change your mind.
Yeah.
Like with all of our friends, they all have kids. Like 5-year-old, 10-year-old, they all have kids. And one time they visited us from Melbourne. So my husband's friend all came. They look at us. We haven't had kids back then. We're just a couple. And they're like, "Oh, you guys look so young. You guys look not tired. You guys look like
That's
you
the
have a life."
Yeah.
So take it as a compliment. It can change a lot of things. So don't feel like you're behind.
I was just talking to a friend today. We went for a quick lunch, and she is on maternity leave from her second baby. And she was just telling me that after having a baby, you appreciate that free time so much.
Oh my goodness. Yes.
And my sister used to talk about it often as well. Like she's got
Yes.
3 kids. I don't know how she's handling it, but she tells us like, "Oh, you just got too much free time for yourself."
That is true. I only have one and I feel it. Yes.
Yeah.
That is absolutely true. Especially when they're young.
Yeah.
I think before the age of 3,
Yeah.
you as a mum, it's just that bond is really strong. And they need you. They're young and they really need you. And
Can I ask, is it a boy or girl?
girl.
Oh,
Yes.
how lovely. There's a saying, isn't it? If your firstborn is a girl, that means you needed a friend. If your first child is a boy, then you needed a true love.
Oh, that's so cute.
That's really cute. I'm glad we have a daughter. I'm not sure how my husband will feel that.
As a mother, I can assure you, because I'm a good daughter, I call myself, that you will have a lifelong friend.
Oh,
Yes,
it's true.
Yeah. So funny that you said that, because when we found out that we're having a girl, my mom was so happy, and she said,
You're not gonna be alone.
In our language, it's like rough translation is that if you have a boy, you're giving birth to the whole family. Or you have a girl, that's yours forever. Yeah. So I really feel that.
As a daughter, I can say that's true.
Yes. So do I. Yeah.
Can I ask though, because you got reservations. So how old was your mum when she had you? Because that could also be something.
Yeah.
Well, I'm the youngest out of 3 of us.
Okay.
My brother. Now, this might come as a shock for you, but my mother was not even 18 when she gave birth to my brother.
Okay.
Because she married early, and that was quite normal for her generation in that time. But I don't remember what age I have to calculate, but there's quite a bit of gap. I'm the youngest.
Okay.
And obviously, mom and dad didn't need me because they had my sister and my brother, so I came as a surprise to them. So
That's always the story of the third.
the last
When
one.
there's a gap, there's like, this
But
was.
probably still like late 20s, right? Your mom.
Yeah.
But that's what I mean. So your mum had her first child when she was 18. So that's really like built in the mentality of like where like you're now older than 18. So what's happening?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you sometimes carry that in your subconscious where you're like, I haven't done it yet. It's just all these factors that influence the way you think. And it's about like eliminating that. Get rid of that noise.
Well, but
It's a different time.
But to be fair, there's always pros and cons, right? Like we decided to have kids late. It definitely has its benefits. But I also have friends that have kids really early.
Yeah.
Like in their early 20s.
Yeah.
22, 21, like that. And now their kids going to university. And they have all this freedom to do things. So there's always pros and cons.
There's something there, right? So I have like a couple of friends who had kids in their early 20s. So now they're in their 30s and their kids are kind of like self-sufficient and they can leave them with their parents and stuff like that. But I feel like some of them are trying to catch up on the time they've missed from when they were 20. And I
Absolutely.
that's another thing.
Could be the case.
Yeah, it's like now they want to do all these things because when everyone else was in their 20s and free and they weren't able to because they had
Well,
kids.
I have a friend who had kids. She has 3 boys. Well, congratulations and heads off to her. She missed out on her career development because she started to have firstborn. I think she was 23, and then and one after another, and then when we were all like going through your first job and second job and then climbing the corporate ladders or whatever you call it, she missed out that because she was being a full-time mom.
Yeah.
And now all of her boys are. The first one is about to go to uni, and now she's catching up on that.
Yeah, just catching up on that, and also just the social aspect of things. Like now there's that time, it's like, should we go out and do this? And it's like, oh, actually, I'm overdoing that because I've already done that. So, yeah, it depends how you want to be. You know what I mean? There is no right time or wrong time because there's always going to be a different path. It's like, just depends on which path that is right for you.
That's true. I think so. Yeah. And I was actually talking with HP earlier. Like for us, feeling secure and ready is a big part of it. So, but that's for me and my husband. It's not for that's only our story.
That's true.
And
it's quite individualism.
Yeah, definitely. And I think if the listeners are listening, I feel like if you're female and then you're thinking about whether you should or should not have kids, I think it should be your choice, not
do
your mom.
What fulfills your soul.
Yes, not
either being a mom is your priority in your life, and if that is what you think that you are made to do, and it's not an easy job. I must tell you, raising kids, it's not easy.
Yeah.
No matter how involved a dad is, kids will look for mom.
Always.
Regardless.
I was just talking to mom, and my daughter called mom when we're at home, like every other second. And she doesn't call dad.
Yeah.
I'm like, can you call dad sometime?
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's the way it is. Yeah. I was just saying that it should be always your choice and not your mom's, dad's, in-laws, societies, or any other people's. You have to be comfortable with your choice. I think, unfortunately, a lot of people will pressure into it, and then I think the regrets or guilt, whatever they're feeling, it's actually not healthy. Yeah. Especially when you're going through pregnancy and then giving birth. It's already traumatic enough for some people, and if you're carrying that kind of regrets, I think it's really not good for mental health.
But can I tell you something? Like when you are saying that it should be based on what you think, it just clicked my mind. Sometimes, asking people to do what feels right is almost like, asking them to fly the plane, just giving the key. Sometimes we don't talk about how you can reach to that point because, like you said, everyone's journey is very individual. And I think we should have a segment of this. We should unpack a lot of things that goes around being a woman, and especially being a woman as a migrant. Being a woman as a second generation, because everything plays a role, right? Everything has the background story. Everything has context. Yeah. If I'm thinking a certain way, why am I thinking a certain way? So I think there's a lot more to unpack on. And I feel like, if people are watching and if young girls and women are watching, I think it would be good to sort of talk about how to unpack and how to get to a point where you feel like this is you. Because at the moment, like, it's almost like, somebody's having a panic attack and you're telling them, calm down. Yeah. But how do you actually calm down? Yeah. Nobody talks about.
No.
Approach it before the panic attack starts.
But how do you know they're going to have panic attack? Because you don't know, because it's quite sudden. And all of a sudden it's like someone is going through this thing and they're like, quiet, be okay, calm down. But that's not going to help them. And everyone's process is quite different. And how they find that calmness is very different as well.
You need to also be aware that there is not just one path. I mean, if we're at UC right now, like a lot of people are like, you got to go to uni and that's the only way you can get a job. Like there was that traditional mentality at one point.
It's like one pathway.
That's it. You didn't go to university. What happened? Why? You know what I mean? It's that traditional, conventional way. Like, but then we've had that rise of the digital age. A lot of people are, they're influencers and making a lot of money through different avenue streams that weren't available, say
In the past,
10 years ago, 20 years ago. So now there's other ways of sort of building your life path. It's not just via one traditional path that everyone else used. It's the same as having a child, right? Like, it's okay. Like, you don't need to just do what everybody wants you to do.
And another way
You're an example of that. You are.
Another way to look at it is if we're all here on this planet together, the population is, so we're not like short of humans. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah.
Right? So
Superhumans? Well, there's an imbalance.
yes.
Yeah.
So if you look at the population perspective, it's a different point of view. But we're talking about more of a personal journey. So I think if you want to be a mom, there's not a single avenue, a single pathway as well. You don't have to give birth yourself. You can also adopt. You can also become lots of other kids' godmother. There's lots of different ways. So
That's my backup plan. Many godchildren. I have so many godchildren that if
there you go.
Yeah.
That's my okay. I have started to invest a little bit in my time in my nieces and nephews' life because I am looking for option B and C. And we have agreed, so the older one is 15, and we have now agreed after having a good negotiation for a few years that I shall have a room in our house, not a garage.
There you go. Progress.
There you go.
That's a progress. Yeah. But also, I mean, when we talk about these things, we talk about what's going on immediately with our friend group or the family, what the family says. But there's also a lot of uncertainty out in the world as well. If you looked at the data of the fertility rate, that has dropped quite significantly. A lot of people, young people especially, they feel like, in this day and age where the environmental, climate change is such a, evident and
Pollution
thing,
affecting, yes.
the real thing, a lot of people feel uncertain. Again, we talked about cost of living, we talked about the housing affordability. It does all come into play as well for a young
Absolutely. So
generation, isn't it?
you think about why am I bringing another human being into this world?
Is it really worth in that sense, you know?
Yes,
Yeah.
definitely, because you're not going to be there for this human being till the end. We're going to go earlier and they're going to be here. So you want to make sure that you be the responsible person. Yeah. Bringing them into the world in your ability to set them up right. I think that's our thinking.
Yeah.
So it's a risk to take. Absolutely.
I think everything's a risk, though. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
There's so
driving
much
the
emphasis.
car,
Yeah,
Getting out of the shower,
It's
slippery
so many risks.
floor.
It's just this one
You
topic,
can fall
though.
and anything can happen.
It's true. It is very true. You know what I mean? Like, I think when you start just thinking about things that way, like, just don't put so much pressure and so much emphasis on a step.
Yeah.
It'll ease down a bit.
Yeah.
You'll
I
feel better
agree.
about things.
Yeah. So when you were asking me about how much social media I, take in when I was pregnant, so there should be a limit because they tell you so many things to worry about.
Yeah.
And then you're just like, shush,
Yeah.
you're away. Lock it away.
Exactly.
Yeah. None of that happened.
But that's what I mean. Like you said, you enjoyed your pregnancy.
Very
I
much.
truly believe that's because you were mentally in a great
I will
frame of
say
mind. You know
out
what I
loud
mean?
is one of the best times in my life. so
Yeah,
far.
because
Yeah.
you were embracing the experience.
Yes.
So I feel like that's a factor.
You feel
That's a
very
big factor.
powerful.
Yeah, you got to embrace
It's
it.
like, what have you been doing today? I'm brewing a human being. It's a really empowering feeling. Yeah.
You know, it's like having dinner when you're not hungry.
Yeah.
It's not the same feeling. You need to enjoy it. Do you know what I mean? You got to be starving for the meal to just hit right. I feel it's as simple as that. Okay, just
I'm
break
thinking
it
about
down.
something else now.
And maybe that's it because I prolonged it for so long.
Yeah, you were like, I'm ready.
Give it to me. I'm ready to do this.
Yeah.
I'm ready to, grow a human being.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm not like blind to all of the risk that could affect a woman that's a bit older to fall pregnant. I'm aware of all of those. But I think
Okay, so the research that I was talking about, which I forgot, and I still don't remember a lot of it, but
give us a gist.
it did talk about, they say it's a myth now that women in later stage of life conceiving will definitely have like not so good pregnancy. So
not true.
so I think it talks about that it can actually have quite a positive impact on the mother as well. So it's not just about, okay, it might be a little bit difficult to conceive after a certain age.
Yeah, but it's like big data, right?
Yeah. So
like where was this started? Do you know what I mean? Like diet is also a factor.
did you also read about Indian elderly couple giving birth at their 70?
Oh, yeah, I think I read
stories like
I think
this.
I read about
That's
it.
what I mean.
So I could be that, right?
You can be whatever
I'm
you
not
want to
sure.
be.
If I
Be
live up to
whatever
70.
you want to be. That's the thing.
I mean, I think we should also keep those things in consideration, that, there's no biological clock. There's nothing ticking on. If you're not ready, if you're ready, then there's a different story. I mean, you shouldn't put a lot of pressure on yourself. I think that's the bottom line.
I don't know who came up with the term biological clock. I think that's
Somebody who didn't like women as much.
I know, it's like, I
think that's a really bad way to put it.
I do actually feel sometimes that, oh my God, is that ticking? Is that clock ticking?
It's not a real clock. Don't worry about it.
I also read some research. I think internet is a really wonderful and interesting thing because you put in different words, sometimes it spit out different results on exactly the same topic.
Yeah.
So I read a piece of article a while ago saying that research shows, also research, I don't know where it is from, and scientists found women who have kids later in their life, like after 35, 38 or 40.
Or even 45.
Yeah, or even 45, they live longer.
Yes.
They live much longer. Well, I'm talking about like 80 or 90 or even longer. So
I believe that.
I can be selfish then.
Yeah, so my mum is one of 12.
Yeah.
And my grandma had her when she was in her 40s, and she lived till she was very, 90.
I've also, in my personal experience, because I'm a nurse and I used to be a midwife as well back in Nepal. So when women had their first baby before 30, they don't have a lot of issues conceiving the, second, third, or 10th child in their late 40s or even later. So I think it's the first that, determines.
The rest.
But again, everyone is different. I think it depends on, and I've also seen so many women who go through couple of rounds of IVFs and they don't get any positive result and they give up the expectation and then they just fall pregnant naturally.
Right?
pressure's off.
I think it's
the mental thing. If you're not mentally happy, then you can't perform. It's just like anything. If you're not happy, then you don't really want to go into work. You're like, I might just have a day to myself. I just
Mental day.
You do drag yourself to work.
No, but sometimes.
Yeah. Oh well.
There's so many of those stories. Interesting you said that because I can now just do a quick count. At least 5 or 6 of our friends are like that. Trying, no results. IVF, no results. I'm just like, and I'm talking about like 6 or 7 years of time investing into trying to get pregnant.
Yeah.
Can you imagine the stress, the pressure, and the money that they put in, and then they're just like, okay, it's not meant to be. Went on a holiday, came back pregnant.
Yeah, exactly the same. I've heard so many
easy stories.
Yeah.
So
I think you don't choose a child; the child chooses you.
Yeah.
So for that, you have to have a certain, time gone by, so that the right child would choose you, I guess.
Yeah, I think I was actually talking with HP and Marvin. The traditional way of scientific research saying that it's like the guys decide, right? The fastest, the strongest, the sperm will get there and get the job done. But more research shows it's actually the women, so the egg's choice.
Yeah.
If the egg's ready, and they actually have their own selection mechanism.
Yeah.
So I think it's a really interesting perspective.
Yeah. I think more research will follow because it's only recent that the research space in the human body is slowly going towards a woman's body, because primarily the medicine is based on men's body, research, this, that, hormones,
Yeah, I agree.
basic line. So hopefully in future we'll have more answer, and hopefully we don't have to still talk about biological clock in the next
But-
10 years or so.
To be fair, there are also really practical ways to kind of ease the pressure, you can say. I mean, a lot of my friends, I'm from Taiwan, so back in Taiwan, there seems to be like a trend these days, like young women in their 30s. So they're not sure if they're gonna have kids or not. So they go and freeze their eggs.
Oh,
So-
don't even get me started on the
so
process.
they're pre-planning.
They're pre-planning because they're not sure.
Yeah.
So maybe they're really ambitious in what they do. So they really want to just focus on their career, and then focus on that and keep growing. And they don't want to have this pressure on them and think about the biological clock.
Yeah.
So they just go about and then freeze their eggs.
That's true.
I mean, that's an option.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think research shows that the chance of getting a good egg after the 30 years of age it gets significantly down.
Yeah. There's a few marks. They said 30,
I think 20
35, 38.
I think the best time is if you can before around 25, and then as you go higher, the rate of getting a good quality egg sort of goes down. So, I mean, yeah, don't put too much of pressure, I would say. That because
when you're 25, seriously,
you're not
you don't
you're not
think
going to think about it.
freezing the egg.
But there's an option.
There
That's
is
an option.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think the more we talk about it, people get aware about it. It's just that often we talk about these things quite late, only when we get married or after we get married, few years, and when we start to get, pressure from family, friends, or your friends are having kids. I think this should be included in the school textbooks. So to sort of give a realistic picture of what it's going to be like. I think that should happen. I think that will create a bit of awareness in women as well. By age 25, most of the women are mature enough to sort of think which direction they want to head. Most of them probably would like to focus on their career at that point, but having that choice and choosing to do it while they can do the best, I think is good. But we don't talk about it very often, and we talk quite late.
It's a sensitive issue. That's why
There's
people
a
don't
lot
want
of
to.
very important things that we don't get taught in school.
Yeah.
That's true. Change the curriculum.
Yes. That's
they have
Or include this.
They need to
Yes.
include something, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, it is a tricky conversation. It's tricky,
Yeah.
especially
It's
when
not going to get easier if we don't talk about it.
Yeah,
No.
that's true. That's
So, how's the conversation going for you?
Pretty good actually. I feel quite relieved in one sense. I'm quite interested to talk about this topic especially because it's hard. You don't know what you want sometimes, and like I said, if it's not like something that you bought, if you don't like, you can return it. Once you have the baby, you have the baby for a lifetime. Like I think about my mom. She worries about me all the time.
Yes.
She worries about my brother. She worries about my mom. So once you're a mom, you're always a mom.
Always.
You cannot undo that thing.
Yeah.
Correct.
So and I also feel that I think the society is changing a bit, and the society is I feel there's not as much of pressure in my surrounding to have a baby, because I've had a good talk to my mother-in-law, my mom. Their wish is to, okay, please have at least one.
At least one.
At least one.
Negotiation.
But my thing is, if I'm having a baby, I'm not just having one. I'm having three, because I quite like the number three, because I'm the third one.
Yeah, okay. So that's your norm.
Did you hear that, HP?
That's my baseline.
Yeah.
So HP is going to have to work really, really hard. while I will be very busy looking after 3 kids
Yes.
in future.
Hmm.
Hopefully soon, but
Yeah.
who knows? What do
Is
you
that
think?
negotiable though?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Of course. That's just a wishful thinking.
Because we had like I don't know, like half an hour ago, you were like, I'm not ready.
Not
I
sure.
don't know.
now we're
I don't
Now we're
know.
talking about 3.
Yeah,
No, I always had that number though.
Okay.
Like I was never sure if I was gonna have a baby.
So it's either no or 3.
I don't know 3.
Yeah.
That's quite easy. There's no in between.
yeah. It's interesting.
Either don't do it or
go
go all the way.
Go in the deep end and do
Yes.
it all.
Personally, I don't want to put too much of pressure on myself saying that yes, I will have baby
Yeah.
because I don't know what will happen. You know, so I'm just taking it as it comes.
Yeah.
There are
That's
lots of
what you gotta do.
things. You know, lots of things. It's just because someone's got 2 kids and they're really happy, their life is really content. I'm not gonna follow their pattern because I'm quite content at the moment. What I do is making me quite peaceful. You know, my work. You know, I get to do so many things. I've got my time. We've got our flexibility. You know, this is good. If a miracle happens and a baby comes, I'll be happy with that as well, I think. But I don't know when that will be.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
I do have to say that when you said you're a mom, you're always a mom. I feel it very much.
Yeah.
Now I'm a mom, and I'll have to say, like, I'm a very career-driven person. I've been working for 18 years, going on 19. Before I have a kid, I always feel that's really me, and that's really important for me to pursue that. But after she's born, I remember I was still recovering in the first month, you know, just literally everything's new. And she was sleeping right next to me. And that moment trumps everything else. I know it sounds really cliche, but that's
No.
exactly how I felt at the time. And now every time she calls me mom, it's just my world, you know? So I feel like you can't have it all. You can have your career. You can also choose to have a kid or 3. Yeah. So I don't think we need to be so
Rigid.
nervous and rigid about, you know, you only can pick one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's very true. I totally agree with that. Like I said, it's your path, it's your journey. You create your own timeline.
Yeah.
It's your life.
That's true.
Yeah. How are you feeling now? I could feel the energy. It was a bit different when we first started having this conversation.
I am always like,
I feel like you're a bit more calm now. You've got, like,
no,
we're
that's
encouraging
just
you.
me. Like I said, you know, in my professional life, I encounter a lot of women, especially as well.
Yeah.
And I'm ever so ready to talk about these things because I feel like I should have started to talk about this way before. And if I just talk about these things, get to know people's experience, to educate them, I think my part is done there. You know, that's how I take it. Because knowing what I know now, I think I can pass on that information to other people in my surrounding as well. Like I know 15 is quite young age, but I also started to talk about these things with my niece as well. You know,
Yeah, I think it's
they need
really
to be
important.
aware.
Yes.
They need to be aware.
But I
Because
think
not,
as well.
not many people talk about these things.
No, but I think as well, like to both of you, I think your stories are very interesting because you both come to Australia, you know, from other countries. You've got to factor that other sort of bit to your puzzle that maybe some other people don't factor in. Like you said, you had to get married to HP at least legally in order to live together. Like some people don't have that. Some people they're here, they meet whomever, and then that's the beginning of their story. So there's other factors that both of you have had to deal with, you know, and then also nesting.
We were in long distance relationship as well.
That's what I mean.
You have to factor
That
so
has
many
to be
different
factored
things.
in.
Yes.
It's not clear cut, and you know, this is not the country you grew up in. So you also have to make sure that you feel safe in where you are in order to then take that next step.
Yeah,
so I think
absolutely.
it's important. You got to
I think the
factor
healthcare
all of that
system,
in.
how comfortable you are
Yeah.
giving birth to a a certain country, in a certain country.
You're not having
As
a support system.
Yes,
I think that's
exactly.
another factor. People are like cost of living, the financial thing, but it's also the support system of like,
Absolutely.
what if
because-
you're not? You said you were not feeling well,
Yeah.
and you're like, can I push it back? But even if you go to the doctor and you have to pay that out of pocket cost, you still then you can't bring a child with you.
Mm-hmm.
So that's another factor. It's all
Yeah.
the resources, physical resources.
It's actually very true that it takes a whole village to raise a child.
Oh,
It's actually true.
Yeah.
I didn't understand that sentence before I gave birth. And then after I gave birth, like, oh, I got it now.
Yeah.
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 Because it's not a one person
No, it's
job.
not one person.
No.
It's not two people.
No.
No.
The current
Parents alone
society
can't do this. It's really hard.
Yeah.
The
Yeah,
way
no.
our social structure at the moment is quite fragmented.
Yes.
Young people need to feel supported in every layer, and we don't, and especially immigrants, first generation. That's the difficulty I feel like a lot of us are facing at the moment. People who have had kids, people who are planning to have kids, or people like myself who are unsure about it, or probably don't quote me if I come pregnant next year.
We won't judge you. We'll be very happy. We'll be very happy
But that's
for you.
the thing as well. Like I see my friends, they struggle. I mean, they're doing it a wonderful job. But they don't have the support system. What
I
if somebody
completely
falls
agree.
sick?
That's right.
One parent can't possibly look after two kids in one household.
I think
So you need that network.
Western family structure, the nuclear family, mom, dad, kid, that's not enough.
No.
I really, really, truly believe that's not enough.
Because we've seen the benefit of having that extended families
Yes.
around.
Yes.
I feel like there's something lacking in this social structure here that we possibly can't provide all the nurturing
Yeah.
for that, baby minds. They have so much to learn. They have, there's so much of life skill they learn from these extended families.
Yes,
It's not
exactly.
just about going to school and learning what's 2 + 2.
Yeah.
It's about learning to adjust with the others, because in workplace you're not the entitled person there, you're just another person. So how do you cope in that environment if you don't have that extended families, if you don't have your cousins, you don't have any that circle? They're not going to understand how to share that. They're not going to take that things easily. And I think that's why a lot of times we see rise in mental health issues in young people, because that's just not that second or third layer of protection or support for young kids as well. It's very difficult to be kid in this generation.
It is definitely. Oh gosh, there's a
so
lot
much
to
to
unpack
talk
there.
about.
Hey,
Yep. I think
So
we can
much
talk
to
about
unpack.
it like
Hours.
hours.
We should do our own podcast
And I feel like
for 3 hours.
there's so many directions that you can go into.
I know.
Yeah.
I think we should start to talk about it. I really feel like this is a gap that we need to address.
I often tell my husband when I'm feeling unwell or very exhausted, I said that, well, how can we do this? Because his family is not in Canberra, it's in another state, and my family is not here, so it's just us. And we often talk about that we both feel that we can't fall sick.
Yeah.
That's
because
right.
of
You got to be
our
on
daughter.
all the time,
You
right?
have to be on all the time. Yes, of course you can hire help. Like we have people that we trust, and we have people that we can, call when we really need it. But
We can't do that all the
that's
time.
the difference and it's the family. Like if my mom and dad are here, I'm very comfortable just say that, hey, can you take my daughter for half a day? And I know there's not a problem.
It's only half a day. I'll give them for a week.
The weekend. You go.
Week.
Yeah.
You told me you're going to be there when I'm going to have
Oh,
kids. so-
we had that for
It's
a
their
while.
duty
and
now.
That's very, very good. Yes.
Yeah.
But when my parents were with us for like 7 months, it was really good.
That's really
Yeah.
sweet. Yeah.
So I really understand the difference, and I really see a lot of people doing it really tough. And we haven't even started to talk about single parents.
No.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
another.
I know. I don't know how to do it. Seriously, I don't know.
It's difficult.
It is difficult, and especially like you hear so much conversation around like how difficult it is to get into childcare programs and that sort of thing. Like I have a colleague who is pregnant, and she's due in 6 weeks or very soon, and she's going and having meetings with places now to get on a wait list.
Seriously?
Yeah,
My
so I'm
goodness.
like, oh my god, is that really how this is now? It's like people are
I
trying
really
to
had it really
pre-plan.
smooth. I heard
I don't
stories
know
like
if
that.
it's- Yeah.
Is it area specific as well, or is it
Or is it
everywhere
just-
in
It's, I
Canberra?
feel like most of the stories I've heard, like I have friends who live on the south side, but they could only get into the Western
So-
Creek area. So it's just very competitive.
It is.
I don't, and that's another stress, another factor. If you don't have that support, what other supports are available to you, especially if you are a single
Oh,
parent?
that's another.
That's what I
whole
mean. This is
topic.
a whole nother thing.
That's
that we
another
haven't
whole
even
topic
gone
because
down.
I know.
Because
And don't get me even started to apply for childcare
No,
subsidy.
do you put them in musical theatre? Like, is that what you do? You know, that's
Because we had our daughter when we were overseas, so when we came back, we have to go through all of the paperwork to get the childcare subsidy. Because she was born overseas, although she's Australian, but there's a lot of her because
Yeah.
there's no record of her here. There's
Yeah.
no like vaccination record, all of those. So that it's another episode. I think.
yes, yes, we definitely need more episodes to unpack everything,
Yeah.
all these things.
And then like what you said, I mean, we're very lucky to found really good childcare center, and at first it's really difficult for her to adjust into it because up till the age of about 2.5 she's always with me, and then with a nanny, and then with my parents, that's how that's her world. And the transition from that going to daycare, there were about like 4 weeks to 6 weeks. It was really difficult, and I
Yeah.
think lots of parents are feeling it, and a lot of people need to face that much earlier because usually you have maternity leave for a certain amount of time, and some people extend it to a year, right? And then you have to go back to
Who can
work.
afford it
And
only?
who,
Yeah,
and
that's
who,
right.
how and who and what? There's all of these questions.
Well, quite interesting time.
I know. There is definitely it's a too hard basket.
There's so many things to talk about. Like, it's,
So Kim, what are your thoughts now?
I still think that I still got to kick my goals. I'm aware of all of this. I've had friends, like I said earlier, who had children very early, even like cousins who had kids very early. And the thing that I see that is reoccurring in every situation is you need to have that support. And, whilst I do have some sort of support, I think for what I want to do, I can't just use that as my mum's here, so I'll just dump that on her because it's not her choice to have a child. Do you know what I mean? So it's like
But I've been told they love that part.
they do until they don't.
There's if you do too much, there's a saying in Nepal. It goes "Saun ko banda baj ko maya," which means you love the interest more than you love principle.
Right.
So you're the principal,
actually
but your
quite
kids are interest, so they love that part more. They
Yeah.
enjoy that, and I think it's a
in
good.
my case, definitely, yeah.
Yeah.
I think one time my mom said that you don't have to come back.
But that's the thing, right?
just
so that can impact the growth of a child. Like I've done my own research. You need to spend a good amount of time with your child before you start leaving them.
Yes.
It's like at least 9 months to a year. Otherwise, they develop like this sort of separation anxiety, and that's not healthy. And then they have problems when they
It's
go
very,
to
very
school,
important.
socializing.
Mom and dad
Yeah.
presence the research I've been looking at is like up to 3 years old.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you need that core time.
Sets up the foundation right for their
Correct.
entire life.
Yeah.
All right, then we've
So
been given
much.
signal that this might be the end of the
right.
discussion.
The real
So-
clock is ticking.
Yeah, this real clock. It's nearly 7 p.m. The HP's disappeared, if anyone has noticed. We were talking to him earlier about pageants and how he was in a pageant. Just quickly,
Oh,
give us
Oh,
a
yes.
rundown.
I didn't know him then.
Yeah.
All right.
When did you find out?
Oh, he's very proud of it, you know.
I
didn't have to
realized.
find out. He was telling me about all about
Are there
it.
photos in your home of him competing?
In the contest.
Well, he showed me some pictures out of Google.
Oh
That
my
was a
god, so
big
they're
thing.
available. Yeah.
It was a big thing. Like, you know,
As
it was
in-
2010.
Oh, I love this. I love
You
that
know?
we're narrowing it all down.
So if you still Google, you might find it. I don't know what else he's got in his name now.
Oh, I love it.
But yeah, he did compete. And yeah, he looked quite handsome. I said, oh, you look pretty good.
Yeah. Okay.
So I was like, oh, did you have conference then?
Oh, very juicy. We might have to continue this conversation another
Privately.
time. HP's telling us it's over, it's done. He doesn't want
HP's
us
life
to-
is not private.
Well, thank
But
you all
yeah,
for listening.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time. I hope you had a good time. If you, tune into our program. I'm taking over.
You,
guys.
I mean, we love it. Thank you so
I'm
much
taking
for joining
over.
us today. We love
I was just
it.
replacing HP because he had to go somewhere, I
Yeah,
think,
he had to
and I've
go.
just taken over in one show.
Well,
Here
happy
you
to
go.
have you. If you want to take over more often, I'd welcome it.